Hey, it's your guy Tyrrell back with the interviews. Argentina are somehow in the round of 16. I don't know how they got there, but they have a date with France. Do they have any chance of beating France? Could Messi pull off a miracle? And if so, how are they going to do it? Don't worry, here's the interviews. We've got you covered. So on this edition of the interviews, we're going to break down three main talking points that Argentina will need to follow if they're going to beat France. So Argentina squeak by the skin of their teeth to the round of 16. However, they have a date with France, the team that many people think are favorites to win the World Cup. France have a point to prove, and Argentina definitely have a point to prove because they were awful in the group stage, and they definitely need to be 10 times better if they even have a chance of beating this France side. However, when you really think about it, there are three key talking points about this Argentine side ahead of the France game, and here at the interviews, we're going to break that down for you. Number one, they don't know their best starting 11. In the first game against Iceland, they played a 4-4-1-1. In the second game, they played a 3-4-3 against Croatia and were humiliated in the second half. And in the third game against Nigeria, they were rescued by a Rojo goal, but in that game, they played a 4-3-3. Messi was better, but as a whole, in the second half, when they went down, they put their heads down, and that's one big issue with this side. Not enough heart when their back's against the wall, just kind of like France, they don't know what to do and they panic. Who is their best starting 11? That's so tough because they made so many changes, and when you go into a tournament like this, you need to know your best starting 11 or have a good idea of who could be in that starting 11 and who you could bring off the bench. Here, up front, Aguero scores in the opening game, doesn't offer much in the second game, then gets angry at Sampoli, makes a bad public statement, and doesn't play in the third. Doesn't do much off the bench in the third. Higuain gets an opportunity to play, doesn't do much. Although he did link play better, he could have done more and he didn't. And he missed a great chance again on the big stage. So who's going to start up front? That's up in the air. In midfield, they look like that's one of the areas where they could be okay. It looks like it's going to be Mascherano. It looks like Banega's going to play there. And Enzo Perez, who ran to the right when Messi cut in from the right and then stayed in midfield when Messi held his position on the right, could be another key inclusion. So there, it's okay. But again, we don't know who's going to start out wide. Is Di Maria going to play? Is Pavon going to play? Is Dybala going to get a start? At fullback, you have to think they're going to stick with what they have, although Mercado does look like a liability. And in defense, it seems like everything's set, but they don't know their best 11. They don't know what system they're going to play in. They doesn't seem like they even know how to get the best out of Lionel Messi. They kind of got an idea in the first game. In the second half, they almost collapsed after conceding a penalty, and that's the biggest issue here, because if they don't know what their best starting 11 is, there's a good chance that they could lose this game, especially against a French side who have enough talent to just get over the hump. Number two, when we think about it, can this side play reactive? We've seen them go forward. They do heavily rely on Messi, and they did have the help of Banega, but when they go forward, they leave a lot of space on the counterattack. Iceland got to them that way. Croatia eventually got to them that way. Nigeria was getting to them. This French side, when you think about Dembele, Mbappe, Griezmann, Pogba running forward, they could bring on Lamar. So much pace on the counterattack. You do not want them running at you. Argentina has to go back to the roots that helped them get far under Sabella in 2014. Sit deep, keep your midfield banks low, keep them tight, stay compact, don't let Griezmann get the ball between the lines. We saw Denmark do that great with Christensen, so it can be done. And besides that, have a plan on the counterattack. They have pace on the counterattack. Pavon is fast. Messi could break on the counterattack and slide players in like Higuain and Aguero. Di Maria is also quick. They have an identity there, but if they do not, if they push men forward, they're going to have a problem because one, the defenders and you could say the midfielders, and we'll get to that in a second, aren't that great on the ball. Two, they push their fullbacks forward, so that leaves a lot of spaces in wide areas. And three, They just aren't that good without the ball defensively or in possession, bringing it up. And France will exploit those issues. And number three, the biggest issue, Javier Mascherano, the heartbeat of this side, the leader of this side, but he is past his prime. He struggled against Nigeria. His passing wasn't good. He made a lot of mistakes, clumsily went into challenges. He does not look like he can be a reliable person, especially in front of that back line. Perhaps they put Villa beside him if they're going to play reactive. Maybe they put Perez beside him, but he needs help in that midfield. He was overrun against Nigeria. He definitely struggled against Croatia. And like I said, against that France side, if you have someone protecting the back four, they need to be mobile. You need to be able to trust them. They need to be a good passer. And so far throughout this tournament, Javier Mascherano, 4 years later after being a key component to that Argentine side that went to the finals, is proving to be a liability. And if they're going to beat this France side, whether they play reactive or whether they try to break France down, he has to be stellar. And if not, they are going to struggle. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think Argentina could win? Do you think they could lose? How do you think they will win? If they're going to lose, why is that? Meet me in the comments below. Let me know about that. Don't forget I upload videos every day, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And that was your daily dose of the interviews.